certified jet. I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back, eSim Studios. Now, something we've been keeping a very, very close eye on, excuse me, is the iPhone 15 Pro Max overheating issues and durability issues now, it appears. We put out a video 5 days ago. I believe it was the day before the iPhone 15 was released last Friday. So today's Tuesday. So it'd be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so we put the video out 6 days ago. 5 days ago it was officially released, where you can go to the store, pick one up in hand. We put a video out. We were the very, very first, from what I could find, YouTube channel that made a video about this overheating issue. We found some internal documents, some internal testing, and you can go back and find it. You'll see it. It's got iPhone 15 frame with a bunch of flames at the bottom. In regards to how and why the A17 processor basically overheats, thermal throttling, and how that slugs down or slows down the performance of the iPhone. And we go over and discuss how and why that happens. It is a clear and present outcome of the production of the CPU, of the chip. So basically, we go into detail on it then. I'll just go over real quickly and we'll discuss these other issues that seemingly have arisen. So the new processor is built on a 3 nanometer processor. So the A17 Pro, that's the Bionic chip that's in the Pro and Pro Max, is different than what's in the 15 and 15 Plus. They have last year's model, the A16. Am I saying that right? Sorry, I've been going through so much stuff today. A17 Pro chip. Yeah, it's the Pro chip. So what the deal is how they constructed this chip and how it's creating overheating issues. Excuse me, allergies here today are horrible. The previous model, the A16 Pro, is built on a 4 nanometer architecture. Basically, what the chip sits on and how it's constructed. It's the architecture is the foundation of the CPU or the chip. So the A17 is basically built upon the A16 architecture, or not architecture, but construction and how it's built. This new one, this A17, is a 3 nanometer processor. So what they did is basically reduce to the foundation of the chip and or processor, but still have the main components and construction from the previous year's model. Now where the problem arises from, try to make it fast, is you're basically generating more heat and more performance out of your processor, but your foundation is smaller, allowing for the heat to not dissipate as fast or efficient as the previous model, because there is a little bigger foundation. Very, very, very small, but you got to remember, all these little things added up make a big issue. So you're generating more power, more performance, more heat. And if you have a smaller foundation, the heat cannot dissipate as efficiently or as properly as it should. So that's where you get the heat generation when you're playing games and you're doing video editing, when you're shooting video. It generates a ton of heat. I've been watching quite a bit, but was reviewing some YouTube channels and or videos, and somebody said theirs got so hot during video editing that they could not even hold it in their bare hands. They had to put it down. And the dude even put it in his refrigerator. He said it got 133 degrees Fahrenheit. So hot he couldn't even hold it, put it down. Now, that's also a problem, because if you put a case on it, the case, a lot of these people and tech people you see on YouTube are using their iPhone 15 Pro Max with no case. It gets even worse if you put a case on it. That case insulates the heat and does not allow it to dissipate as it should. So it'll get it with. Now, you won't feel it on your hands because you have something in between you and your phone, which is a case. However, the temperatures inside that case, inside that phone, will get even hotter. Now, prolonged heat exposure, high heat exposure, can and will damage your battery. It'll degrade the battery faster, and some other internal components. Now, this heating issue is not the only problem. It appears a whole nother issue has arisen over these last few days. People have been, now let me take this back. As you know, or you may not know, Apple has gotten into the Indian market. So take it for what you will, politics wise. Apple's trying to not necessarily get out, but they're trying to expand their options, so to say, as far as manufacturing. Apple has been using Foxconn, who manufactures all sorts of devices, not just Apple, but Xiaomi, Samsung. They used to do Pixel. I think Pixel moved on and now being constructed in the Philippines. But for Apple, they're trying to maybe distance themselves a little bit, or don't depend on China so much for construction of their iPhones. So what do? They construct and build a multi-billion-dollar manufacturing plant and facility in India. India is notorious for cheap labor, as China is as well. And as you know, you can't construct these iPhones or build these iPhones or its parts in America. Because if you did, it would be nice. But if you did, let's say Apple builds a plant in Arizona or Texas and starts building the components and manufacturing, basically putting together the iPhone in America. It's American made. Well, the labor is more expensive. You're going to get the minimum wage in Texas, I think $7.25 an hour, but you would have to pay more than that. So you're probably going to be paying $15-20 an hour, right? Well, your iPhone, though, they're going to pass the costs on to you, the consumer. So if iPhones are constructed here in America, the iPhone would probably cost you, like, let's say it takes a couple of years to build it, manufacture, and then up and running, and then the costs get passed down to you. So you're looking at 3-4 years. So like with the iPhone 18 or 19, it would be like, with inflation included, it'd probably be like $2,500, $2,500, possibly for the maxed out model, the terabyte model Pro Max. You're looking at like close to $3,000 probably. There's no way anybody would buy that. Even on a financing plan through AT&T or T-Mobile, your monthly bill with that would be like basically $100, right? Maybe more, probably more, like $120. So that's crazy. So they moved to India. It still has considerably cheap labor. Now, it's not as cheap as China. However, it is cheap, way cheaper than America. I don't know what they pay them there. Probably $1 an hour, something like that. China is like 50 cents an hour, maybe a few dollars a day. So anyways, Apple moved to India for construction. India has different quality control rules and restrictions on constructing these iPhones. People have been getting their iPhone now. This is the first year they've used India to construct their iPhone in the iPhone 15. People have been getting the iPhone 15 in and see lint and dust inside the sensors, the camera sensors. They've opened up iPhones, seen lint and dust inside the device, on top of the processor, motherboard. Let me show you some of these manufacturing mishaps that now, if you're expecting, I don't know if they're constructing 100% of all iPhone 15s in this India plant. Look, they could just do all iPhone 15 Pros and Pro Maxes in this India plant, and then iPhone 15 and 15 Plus in their China plant. I don't know how they break it down. However, if you're planning on buying an iPhone, or you pre-ordered one, and it's on back order and you're still waiting for one, it might be a good idea to see if you can figure out if your device that you ordered is manufactured in India. If it is, you might, now it's not on all of them, but it's a good number. The overheating issue is becoming a major, major, major issue. But I wanted you to be aware of this new issue that's arising, and it's with quality control. People have been opening up their iPhone 15s, whether it be 15 Plus, Pro Max, doesn't matter. But it seems like it's specifically coming from this India plant. Now, I'm going to play some videos so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, now I'll do that other one. Here we go. Check this out. As you can tell, there are specks of lint and dust inside the camera sensors, ever so slightly. However, just that little bit amount will make a difference. If you're taking a photo, look at that, a piece of lint inside the camera lens, right on top of the camera lens, that will affect your videos. Some people have been, or cameras samples. Some people have been getting scratches. See that piece of lint right there? Let me show it again real quick, and let me fast forward through it. But look, here's the processor, lint, dust particles on there that should not be there. You got lint inside the camera sensors that will affect the quality of your pictures. This is inexcusable. These are right out of the box, brand new devices. And people say, wait a second, and they start taking pictures. Dude's got a magnifying glass. That's not acceptable. None of this is, but definitely not a scratch on your screen. Now let's take a look at the other one. This other one, they have separation issues where the mid frame of the device meets the back panel, the back glass. You can see some separation and or glue coming out. Now this is crazy. The dude shows his device. It looked like it was dropped before being put in the box and shipped out to him. That's now obviously you can return these. I think a lot of places at least give you 14 days to return. Some 3 weeks, maybe a month. But please, please, please check your device when you get it in for everything, every little inch, every centimeter of the device. Check. Look for the separation issues. Now this is not an iPhone. This is a Samsung. However, with the separation issues where this back panel and this front panel, both are glass. They glue them together onto the mid frame. The mid frame is the middle part that you see right here. Look for glue. Look all around here, the base of where the mid frame meets the back glass. Look for those where it looks like glue, or if it's separating, if it's loose. Try to put your fingernail in there and try to pry it. Now, it's not going to pop off. Trust me. It takes a lot more than that. But just test it and see. If it's loose, if you see any glue coming out, return your device. Look at the camera sensors. You know what you can do? If you have another phone or like if you have a trade-in device that you're going to replace with your current device, pull out your iPhone 15, take a picture. Make sure you clean it. Make sure there's no visible lint on there. Take a picture of the sensors like that. And then with that camera sample, zoom in to the sensors to where you can get a really, really good visual check underneath the glass. Sometimes it's hard to see, especially with lights and stuff. You may get a glare or two, may not see a piece of lint. Take a picture, zoom in, check underneath the camera lens right there to see if you can see any. You saw how small those pieces of lint were, right? It's all it takes to mess up your photos. And again, you want to double, triple check this device, especially with overheating, play games. Even if you don't do video editing, take a 4K video sample, good 5-10 minute long video sample, and then go in and just do some light editing. Apparently that's all it takes before the device to start heating up. If it gets too hot, return the device. It's not, look, devices can get warm. That's normal. Warm is normal. But when it gets hot enough to where you can't hold your phone, that's where the issue comes in. And if that happens, simply return the device or ask for an exchange. I'm sure they are very well aware by now of the issues going on. Check to see if your device was dropped, any scratches on your screen. When you peel that thing off, thoroughly inspect your device. And just remember, when you put a case on your phone, the temperatures will get hotter. Now, it may not feel hotter on your hand when you're holding it like this, but inside the phone, it's going to get super, super hot. Now, another issue with durability, and something else I wanted to bring up with Apple, is this. I'm sure many of you have seen this, but some of you that are viewing that have not seen this, please check this video out. So what you see here is Jerry Rig Everything. He has a bend test. He does this to every single phone. He tests every flagship that comes out. He will put the durability test, scratches it, tries to bend it. No other phone I've seen, and he said no other phone he's tested, when you bends it from the back, where you put pressure on the back plate and try to push it through the display, no phone has cracked, front or back. This is the very first time that's happened. And I can tell you why it happened, because I used to repair these. The back glass for Apple was a back glass repair, used to be a huge moneymaker. You could take there's a special laser we used to sell and use where it would take some super strong UV lasers and essentially zap the glue, because this is glass. It would go through the glass and burn the glue underneath it, so you can just pop the back panel off. Well, Apple is, as you know, trying to corner out and box out the third-party repair market, basically. So we used to just do repairs for the back panel and back glass of iPhones, anywhere from like 80 to 120 bucks a device. That would include the repair, parts, and labor. Well, Apple knows that they're losing money on third-party repairs fixing these back glasses. So what does Apple do? Apple now, if you've ever had a front display repaired where you crack the front display and you get a third party to do it, they put a new display on there and then you think everything's good. And then you try to use Face Unlock and it says, gives you some warning where it says can't read your face or not a official Apple part installed. That's because Apple serialized the front display. So if it's not an official Apple display, it'll let you know and it won't let you use your Face Unlock. Well, now they're doing that to the back panel. Now on the 15 series. If you do not have the serialized, electronically serialized, so when you take the back panel off, it'll have a little hanging strip that you can plug into the motherboard when you put the new back panel back on. That's how these are cracking so easy, because Apple said in their announcement, the back panel makes it easier to fix, easier to repair. Wink, wink, right? Because they're saying that, and they made it this way because the back panel is easier to take off. You do not have to have a laser anymore to zap all the glue underneath it. Apparently, all you can do now is, if you're familiar or seen how Androids are taken off or taken apart, there is still glue, just not a massive amount like there used to be on the iPhones. You simply get a hot air gun, like women when they do their hair. You just simply set it on table and just heat it up. Probably just move it around for a good few minutes till it gets very, very hot. It loosens up and eases that glue that's in there. So you can essentially just pop this off. That's all it is. Just glue holding it down. So apparently with these new iPhone 15s, you can do the same thing, just like you do with Androids. However, when you buy the part from Apple, yes, they do sell parts, and you get it in the mail, and get like a little repair kit, right to repair and all that stuff. So Apple's trying to corner out that third-party market. Trust me, there's millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions, if not a billion. I would say hundreds of millions in the repairability just of the back glass. So Apple's trying to get in on that. So that's why that back glass is easily crackable, because the back panel is not filled with a ton of glue. It's basically around the border. So there is a teeny space in between his back panel and underneath it. And then what's happening is when he's flexing it, it cracks. I've never seen that before, and apparently he hasn't either. So these are some of the durability issues that Apple is having, and or with their manufacturing of this of this specific device. Nothing, no word on iPads, nothing on MacBooks. It just seems to be this device. And again, there's no confirmation, but it looks like it's coming out of this manufacturing plant in India. Look, if you go to, let's screen share, look at all these. Now, a lot of these people say, I've watched all these videos, right? I've seen this stuff. I've watched all of them. Basically, all of them say it's something, but it's not a major issue. But I'm here to tell you it is a major issue, because when you Apple sells an ungodly amount of iPhones. I think last year they sold something like 88 million iPhones. it's going to be an issue. Now, some have reported issues on just the 15 and, some have reported the overheating issues on just the 15 Pro and Pro Max. Now there's reports coming out as more and more people are getting their devices that this also, the overheating issue also includes the 15 and the 15 Plus. Now, that may just be, time will tell, because Apple doesn't put that new processor in the 15 and 15 Plus. It's just in the Pro and the Pro Max. But we will have to see. Majority of these people say no big deal. I say very, very big deal. And you can tell, look, there's a lot of these were 3 days ago. What I'd say, ours was 6 days ago. Look at all these videos. 6 hours, 23 hours, 2 days, 10 hours, 3 days. Ours was 6 days ago. So we were whatever. I mean, I'm not expecting an award or trophy or anything. I'm just saying we've been on this from day one, since before day one, technically. So please subscribe to our channel. I promise you, I'll stay on this, do more research, and as I get more news, I will definitely bring it to your attention. That's with the colors. 1 day, 2 day, 2 day. So there's a handful of videos, and most of them say no big deal, but I can promise you, hey, what do you know? That's ours right there. I can promise you it's a big deal. So, I think that was it. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Manufacturing issues. Oh, one more thing. Check this out. If your phone overheats, this right here is a big no-no. I used to do this. Honestly, I used to do this. When your phone gets very, very hot, going from one extreme. Now, what he's doing, if you're not looking, he's putting his super hot, overheated iPhone 15 Pro Max in. He's tumbling around like a hot potato, and then he throws it in his freezer. I think he's trolling, or it's like, making fun of it. But he says how to overheating fix. Right? It's kind of clickbait because it's a troll video where it's humor more than a fix. Now, yes, is that a fix? Technically, it is, but don't do that. I warned you. I used to do that. I'll be the first to admit. But as the smartphones get newer and their components get smaller inside and things get more delicate inside, going from extreme heat to extreme cold is honestly one of the fastest ways to not just break your iPhone and break your phone right there at that moment, but especially over time, it'll degrade the components inside faster. The battery, even the glass. You know how sometimes you can take a super duper hot, I can't even think of a scenario, but something boiling, right? Like boiling water temperatures, and then you stick it under the cold water of your faucet in your sink, and then it cracks. Something like that. I don't think I've seen that personally or professionally, but it could happen if you go from a super duper hot phone, stick it in the freezer, and then the glass cracks. It's a possibility, but I would be more concerned about the battery. Changing extreme temperatures that fast, going from super hot to super cold, is not good. So for the life of your phone. So these are some issues you need to be aware of when you get your iPhone 15 in, whether it be the 15, the 15 Plus, Pro, Pro Max. Please just check it. And if you see anything like you saw in these videos, return it or ask for another one. And then hopefully on your second batch, you should be fine. But I do appreciate you joining us today, and subscribe to the channel because we will have more for you.